Lesson number 30, solve equations and inequalities. So now we know how to read and write equations. We know how to read and write and graph inequalities. So now we can start trying to solve them. All right, so let's look at this first problem. Which set of numbers could be the values of x for the inequality 3x greater than 15? Notice that it says greater than, not greater than or 15, just greater than. So start plugging your numbers to see if these work out. Let's look at A. So it says 3x greater than 15. So let's plug in 1 for x. So if you plug in 1 for x, it says 3 times 1 is greater than 15. Now, 3 times 1 is 3. That is not greater than 15. So A is not an answer. All right, we can already tell A is not an answer. Let's look at B. Let's start plugging in numbers. So 3 times 6, if we put 6 in for x, 3 times 6 is 18. 18 is greater than 15. Let's plug in 7. 3 times 7 is 21. That's greater than 15. And let's plug in 8. Well, 3 times 8 is 24. That's also greater than 15. So all of those variables, all of those numbers, 6, 7, 8, if you plug it in, fits this inequality. Now let's just keep going to double check our answers. So let's plug in the next one. 5, 6, and 7. Well, let's plug in 5. Well, if we put 5 where x is, 3 times 5 is 15. Notice that it says greater than 15, not equal to. So 3 times 5 is 15. That's not greater than 15. It's equal to, not greater than. And if we look at the last one, I mean, just obviously, if you just look at the first one, plug in 2 for x. 3 times 2 is 6. Well, 6 is definitely not bigger than 15. So our answer is B. All right, let's look at another problem. It says Tia sets the pace for a running club. She runs 7-minute miles. The running club runs for 49 minutes. How many miles did they run? Okay, so we just got to set up our equation. What do we know? Well, the running club runs for 49 minutes. Well, there's 49 minutes. All right. And we know that Tia sets the pace, and she's running 7-minute miles. Well, she knows that it takes 7 minutes to run 1 mile, but what do we not know? We don't know how many miles she ran. So we get 49 equals 7m. Well, again, I want to isolate that variable by itself. I want to get rid of that 7, so I only have m. Well, since 7 times n is a multiplication problem, I'm just going to divide by 7 because 7 divided by 7 gives me 1, and 1 times m is m. Well, if I divide the right side by 7, I got to divide the left side by 7 as well. So what do I get? Well, I get m equals 49 divided by 7, or 7. And boom, the answer is 7. Another problem, it says, which set of numbers can be substituted for x in the inequality 14 is greater than or equal to 2x to make it true? All right, now to notice again, very important, it's greater than or equal to 2x. All right, so let's start plugging our numbers and see if it works. Ready? All right, so let's look at A. Let's plug in 2 for x. So if we plug in 2 for x, we get 2 times 2, which is 4. Well, 14 is greater or equal to 4, so that's true. How about 3? If I plug in 3, I get 2 times 3, or 6. Well, 14 is greater than or equal to to 14. And then finally, plug in the 7. Well, if I plug in 7 for 2, 2 times 7 is 14. Now notice, it says 14 is greater than or equal to. So that means that if I plug in 7, that's also true. That is correct. Now look at my other ones. All right, we already did 2. Now plug in your 4. If you plug in 4 with the x, you get 14 is greater than or equal to 8. 2 times 4 is 8. Well, that's true. But look at the next one. If I put in 8, okay, 2 times 8 is 16. Well, 16 is not less than 14, so B cannot be an answer. The next one, we already did 3. All right, now let's try 6. If I do 2 times 6, I get 12. All right, so 12 is less than or equal to 14. But look at 9. If I plug in 9 for x, it gets 2 times 9, which is 18. 18 is not less than or equal to 14. And the last one, we already did 3. We already did 7, but look at 10. Well, again, if I plug in 10 where x is, I get 2 times 10, or 20. 20 is not less than or equal to 14. So the only answer we have here is A. And our last problem, it says the city bus can carry a maximum of 32 passengers. A maximum of 32 passengers. Which equation or inequality represents the situation? So notice the city bus can carry a maximum of 32 passengers. That means it can carry up to 32, including 32. So the number of the passengers on the bus can be anywhere from 0 all the way to and including 32. So which equation is showing me that it's less than or equal to 32? Well, the answer is C.